Welcome to the It's Your Fate podcast. Conversations to guide your steps and light your path in deciding your definite major purpose. I'm your host, Lefford Fate. Hello, this is Lefford Fate, and in this series of 17 podcast episodes, which is hosted by my good friend and colleague Mike Saunders, you're going to learn about the principles to a positive mental attitude.
Well, welcome back to today, guys. We have with us Napoleon Hill certified leader Lefford Fate, and we have the privilege of speaking with the executive director of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, Don Green. And today we're going to be starting off talking about principle number 2, which is Mastermind Alliance. Don, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So I want to start off with a really important question, because I feel that sometimes when we talk about really foundational truths that have been around for decades, sometimes people feel like, well, is this really relevant for today in this day and age? So what would you say to someone that asks, why is the Mastermind Alliance a relevant principle for today?
Well, when Napoleon Hill wrote the Law of Success and published it in 1928. If you'll go look at it, it's over 100 pages. It's by far the longest principle for as attention he paid to it, and I think it's because of the importance. And I would say we get asked that question a lot, is this philosophy relevant today? And I say the principle of success, I would compare them to gravity. If you as a kid, you visited your grandfather and you climbed up on his barn and you jumped off, you might have got hurt, you might have got killed. And it doesn't matter when it happened, the law of gravity doesn't change. And you asked the question about is it relevant today? Well, I read a lot of books. Read Steve Jobs' biography by the guy that wrote the book on the 4 geniuses, Walter Isaacson, or what you say his name. He wrote books on Leonardo da Vinci, Ben Franklin, Einstein, and he finished it off with Steve Jobs when he found out Steve Jobs wasn't going to be with us long. Okay, there's Steve Jobs, the mastermind. 2 people, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. They fit all the qualifications to be considered a mastermind. They had one objective, and of course we know what that was. The results is Apple, which is a $1 trillion company today, and if you study them, because I own their stock, they have about 250 billion with a B in cash, and their sales are around close to $300 billion per year, and they employ many more than 100,000 people. And if that's as good as a definition, and I think an example as you could imagine. And if you want to think of another one, think of Microsoft, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, another tremendous example of them meeting all the qualifications. Hill defined it as an alliance built with 2 or more people. He didn't actually say people, he said minds working in perfect harmony towards a common, definite objection. And that's exactly what both of those people did, because, there's many, many millions even from examples, but them's the 2 that everyone should know who Apple is. Yeah. Nobody's not walking around holding a cell phone on their hand or in their shirt pocket and what have you. And of course, Microsoft, we know the effect they've had on communications to today. He wrote in the Law of Success in 28. He said no one's ever attained outstanding success in anything without applying the mastermind principle, and I think that would be pretty hard to challenge today. And I know that's a reason. Over 100 pages written on the mastermind principle, way more than any other principle. In fact, it's more than twice what was written on some of the other principles.
Yeah. So, do you feel like the Mastermind Alliance is similar to something we hear a lot these days, which is like the concept of mentoring? Maybe mentoring is more one-on-one, but would there be some similarities there?
Well, yeah, there is some similarities. I mean, even getting along as far as teamwork or accomplishment, and being in harmony to anything. The difference in a mastermind is everyone's mind should be attuned to the same object. Theirs was the cell phone, and Bill Gates was a computer. Now, you can be mentoring to someone, and they not have the same objective that you have. You can solve problems and so forth and work together, but it wouldn't be. I would not consider it a mastermind, because you could have 5, 6, 10, ever how many people working alone together, but they're not working for a common objective.
Right.
One of them, they need advice. They need maybe financial help. They have different requirements, but they also have different objectives. So it would have parts of the Mastermind Alliance, but I wouldn't consider it a mastermind, because that's the definition of it. Everybody's involved. It's got like minds. They're going towards the same solution, the same ends.
And I feel like there's an element there that I think people should understand, which you are touching on right now, which I think a lot of people would enter in and desire a mastermind alliance for their own personal gain, for their own benefit. But the reality is the mastermind alliance works only when everyone is out for the other people's success, because then people win.
Yeah, absolutely. But I said the part of being in harmonious cooperation and getting along and setting meeting dates and learning from each other and all, that's cooperation or teamwork, what you want to call it. But it definitely doesn't fit the requirements of being called a mastermind, because of that simple fact. In a mastermind, all the minds are tuned. You can consider it a medical group. Their objective is to find a cure for cancer. Everybody's working to the same ends. They may have different contributions. Some may know biology, some may know chemistry, some may know the effects of medicine and so forth and so on, diet and what have you. But still, they got one objective, and that is to find a cure for cancer. So it's used literally. It's used literally every day if you stop to think about it. I've used it in different things. I can give you some examples that affected me. For example, I had a group of 2 or 3 in land development. And it was the same cause. The objective was to develop the land through getting it ready and doing retail establishments located on it, where it be a Walmart or a Dollar General store or a nursing home or what have you. So we had the same objectives, did things like developing spring water. Us as doing it, the objective was to develop and make spring water available for people. So you can use it in many different things. It's just a tremendous principle that you can use the minds of other people. And I've said it many times. Monkeys learn from monkeys, and people can learn from people. It's that simple. But again, to whether it's cooperation or where it's a mastermind, is difference in objectives. You can have cooperation and have 5 people with 5 different objectives and get along and contribute to money or time or advice or mentorship or what have you. And it would just be simply a degree of cooperation, which a lot could be done. But a mastermind is just one objective that someone set on and selected other members that they could get along with and was able to work together towards a common objective.
Wow, that is, thank you for that, Don. One of the things that I've noticed in my learning is everybody uses mastermind. They'll read a book and they say that's a mastermind. They'll start a process, they're a mastermind. Those, to me, are misconceptions about what mastermind principles are, and you just spoke really well about it. But what's the biggest misconception you see or hear about what a real mastermind is?
Well, I think if you set out and you wake up one morning and you have an objective that you want to accomplish, I don't care what it is, to found a charter school or to start a cable TV or whatever. You have to select people that could contribute to it, and their objective would be the same as yours. And it would be not necessarily friends, not necessarily relatives or whatever, or people that you like or so forth. It's people that sold on your idea of an objective. You can imagine Martin Cooper set out to develop a cell phone, and he went to the people for assistance, and they said there's no use for a cell phone, and that was IBM talking. And of course, then he went to Motorola and got assistance. But it's finding something that you have a strong desire that you can accomplish something other and involve other people, because 1 + 1 don't equal 2. 1 + 1 can equal 3, 4, a much higher number, because of the using different brains, different ideas, different talents of other people. For example, I did some land development, and I absolutely don't know nothing about building. I couldn't drive a nail, but I selected partners who've been in the building business and built houses and so forth, and we each had financial means and to work at what we was wanting to accomplish.
Don, one thing that we've been talking about here is the importance of really dialing in properly the Mastermind Alliance. What do you find when you either work with people or you hear people implementing this successfully? What are they seeing as positive changes once this is dialed in really well? Whether you can remember back when you first started implementing it in your life, or hear maybe some success stories of people that you've heard of through the years.
Well, I've been in the banking business. You hear plenty of examples. I won't throw their name out there because they're friends. But starting off with $25,000 and with an objective that they would mine coal. They knew where coal was located, and they started taking steps. But their one objective was to mine coal at a profitable basis. That was it. That was some years back. But and they started with that, and they just had one thing, and neither one of them is coal miners, neither one of them, but they were both college graduates. But they selected people to work with them, but them guys had one objective, to mine coal, and I know they sold out for just a little bit over $1 billion, starting out with $25,000 in capital. So having a strong objective and taking and putting the parts together is it's a good feeling. I mean, I remember when we put cable TV together, I had the idea and talked to attorney and of what the legal process was and the best way to set up a thing. And so we formed a group, and our only objective was make cable TV at a reasonable price. And how we accomplished it, we put the money in. We didn't borrow no money. Most of the firms like that, and I looked at a financial statement of a large cable company, and they were charging a ridiculous amount, and they still charge a ridiculous amount. So we thought we could do a little town and pay for it, and basically we charged exactly one half, and we had to do no advertising whatsoever. We never took out one piece. We never hired nobody to advertise. We simply made it available, and we no advertising radio, no advertising TV, no advertising in the newspapers. But if I hooked Lefford up, for example, and I said, now, Lefford, you got this for $39. You've been paying $79, and that's the actual numbers. And you think he's going to keep quiet? He's going to tell his relatives. He's going to tell the guy next door, who's going to tell the guy next door.
Everybody.
And finally, you got everybody, and you do one town, and they approach you and say, well, you guys that started the cable said we're just going to cut our rates down. You can't survive. We've got access to millions and millions of dollars. I said, guys, we born in the dark, but wasn't last night. You can't cut your rates unless you do all the way across the state of Virginia. You can't cut rates to drive a competitor out. There's laws on the books against that. And so we went ahead and finished that one town. we did the second town. They got back and touched us in. They're getting real serious, and they're starting to offer stock. And I said, no, we're not interested in no stock. When we sell out, we're going to walk away with cash. And I think it was 12 or 13 years. And then we applied for a license for the third town and fourth town at the same time. And then the offer was so good, and something it was hard to pass up, and we sold. But it was just an idea that, and was sold on a common objective, which was affordable cable TV, and that's it. I mean, we didn't have no big, long, outstanding goals or whatever. Just one simple idea: provide these people, working class people, cable TV at affordable price, and we was all working to that same thing, and we did it, but not borrow no money. We grew as we went along, and it was just fun, really. I was a bank president at the time, and never took no time off from work, and we never had an office as such. The guy that did payroll and so forth, we'd meet at his house for night every once in a while and discuss such things as, do you think we should add another shopping network or this or that, and discuss things, or which way should we extend the lines? Because in a cable business, the less wire you run, the more profitable you can be. In other words, some guys living 10 miles out in a rural area, you can't charge him enough to ever come out on it. You want to hook up as many houses in a close proximity as you can, and use labor and wiring no more than you have to. So you want to get a nucleus and then branch out from that, and add the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And to make it profitable, it was a fun business.
Yeah, and the Mastermind, one of singular objective, brings that to life. I know that you certify leaders through the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Can you share some examples of how you, as a foundation, train these leaders through the certification program to start working with their clients and teaching them about the Mastermind Alliance? Where do you start in that process? If you were to teach a new leader, now here's when you work with your clients about the Mastermind Alliance, here's what you need to start laying down that foundation.
Well, the first thing is for them to understand what it is.
Yeah.
They can use the principles, but if they're going to use the Mastermind, they got to know they got to understand it, because the people have different objectives. They're working on a project. I mean, some guy's working for the cable, is just working as for labor. His idea is to feed his family and to pay for his kids' education and so forth, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if they want to truly develop a mastermind and work as a mastermind, they have to have a common objectives that everybody is sold on, and that they will contribute their money, their time, and their talents to see that the objective is obtained in the manner that which you thought of, which was to do it. And mostly we would think about it in a profitable manner, though it could be other things like in education or medical things. We're trying to accomplish good of mankind, and not necessarily profit driven.
Wow. Hey, Don, I got a quick question for you. One of the things, I think I'm a product of what you've taught me over this last year, so I've been really excited about what the Napoleon Hill Foundation is doing. But what inspires you today about what's currently going on in the future vision of the foundation?
Well, I can tell you, I don't think anybody could dispute it. I got probably one of the best jobs absolutely in the world, because I'll be 79 my birthday. I absolutely love what I'm doing. If I'm not traveling, I'll come in here. I come in here and I'll come in here and work, or I'll have ideas, because what inspires me is, I mean, like this past year we had 22 kids had scholarships going to the university, and at University of Virginia, where we're located on campus, and where I've served as a board member for 19 years in a row. I'm a trustee and also president of the foundation, the University of Virginia Foundation Board, which is a fundraising part of the college. And our students last year, I don't have this year's figures, last year they graduated with the second lowest debt load of any four-year college in the United States. So we raise a lot of money. But I'm inspired by that. You know, I work with some of the students. I had one little girl come to work for me in high school because her grandmother had worked for me for 18 years in the bank, and then she worked for me 15 years at the foundation. And she had a little girl, and I knew her mother taught computer technology in high school. So I hired Tosh when she was in high school. 3 years in high school she worked for me. She was valedictorian. She went out here to college. She took a double major in chemistry and biology. She did it in 3 years, worked 20 hours a week for me, and she made 1 B in her lifetime, and it was in a lab class, and she apologized for it. She didn't know what happened. But she went on to pharmacy school, and I got her a job as chairman of the board of a local hospital. And after the merger, I still kept in touch with them, and I called them, and I said, David, I got a little girl that's graduated. She's a pharmacist. I said, University of Richmond. I said, she's got offers from Walgreens and different places out of town, but she'd like to work local because her husband had to drop out of school and work. Now he wants to get an accounting degree and be a CPA. And he said, Don, we don't have no openings. And I said, well, this little girl's pretty. She's bright. She's out. Her dad's an underground coal miner. I said, unbelievable. He said, well, I tell you what. He said, you tell her to go online and put an app in, and I'll call a few places and see if I can find an opening. So I told her grandmother, I said, tell Tosh to go online and apply for a job at Wellmont. And so that's like, I did my part. And I don't know where it's 2 weeks or what, something like that. I get a call from David one day. That's a human resource guy. I said, he said, David, how you doing? He said, fine. He said, the reason I called you, said that little Sturgill girl, Tosh, you sent us, said she starts to work for us next Monday. And I said, well, David, I didn't think y'all had an opening. He said, when we interviewed her, said we created an opening. And she's still working there today. She's bought her husband's bought a home. He's finished college. He's a CPA. In fact, he works for the firm that does my taxes, and she's still on the same job as a pharmacist. And then, when she was working for me, she had a baby brother. There's only 2 in the family. He's like 12 years old. Wants to come work for Don. And so I told his grandmother. I said, Zane still think he's going to come work for me? Yeah, he asks all the time. He says, Mama, I don't see why I can't go work for Don. Said, Sissy worked for him. So I told her, I said, how old's Zane? She said, well, he's 13, but he's going to be 14. Give me his birthday. I said, tell his mother to go to the employment office. He's got to get a work permit. I'll get in trouble. And I hired him in the 8th grade. I started him at $10 an hour. I worked 20 hours a week. He worked for me through high school. He was nominated. He was got most likely to succeed, which he was real proud of because he is an entrepreneur minded, and he went to college out here like his sister in 3 years. He finished a double major, accounting and business, and now he's worked for me full time since he graduated. And he's worked 2 years, and the end of this month he will get his MBA in accounting. So he's been working full time in 2 years to get an MBA. Just work in Virginia, you have to have an MBA before you can sit for the CPA exam. This kid started at 17 years old. He starts in college. He's not only got a checking account, he's got a Roth IRA account, and he's got a stock account. I showed him how he can go buy stock. Probably the only kid in the United States with those kind of qualifications. And so that's what inspires me. And we're doing business with approximately 500 publishers all over the world. In a given day, an average day I will deal with probably a dozen foreign publishers all over the world.
Wow.
From a big country. We had 20 some different publishers in Russia, 25, 26 in China. I counted them the other day. We had 31 in Spanish. But we publish in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, you name it. Armenia, Belarus, Estonia, Slovenia, Slovak, you name it, Cyprus, Greece. If it's a place exists, our books are there.
Well, Don, let's wrap up this thought process on the Mastermind Alliance with this. There's a really big difference between strategy and tactics. You know, the old saying, knowledge is power, is not accurate because you have to put that knowledge into action. So what would you say would be some starting points for someone to begin implementing the Mastermind Alliance?
Well, the start, he tells us to have a purpose. You say, I'm going to set up a mastermind. What for? You're going to get together and drink beer and bet on ball games or something. You just got to start off with a definite major purpose. And if we recap it up, if you go back to Think and Grow Rich and look under chapter on desire, and he gives you the 6 steps to riches, that's a very good start. But as far as a mastermind, someone wants to do it, they got to have a reason to want to do it. They got to have some strong objective that it's worthwhile, that they believe in, and that they can see that they can accomplish and have tremendous results through a mastermind alliance, and that's the starting point is to have a definite purpose. It's the starting point of all achievements, and so necessary. It's the starting point. If you're needing to form a mastermind alliance, is to start off with having a definite purpose.
Exactly. Lefford, final thoughts or questions on Mastermind Alliance?
Well, the thing that I take from this whole thing about Mastermind Alliance is that I thought I knew what I was doing until I started the process of becoming a certified Napoleon Hill leader, and it has taught me so very much. If you could quickly just answer this question, because I know my answer, but what would it benefit anyone out here to become a Napoleon Hill certified leader from your perspective?
Well, to me, it gives you integrity, because I hear so many people, and I don't try to correct them, talking on what they're talking about. Like I've heard people say Think and Grow Rich is not about money. I'm sitting here looking at the first edition. On the cover it had for men and women who resent poverty. He said he wrote the book for the millions of men and women who are living in poverty and fear of poverty. So I think it's important. I used to sit beside Mr. Stone. He's a billionaire, and he used the word action all the time. In fact, he printed little buttons, and I got some of them, goes on lapels. It says, just do it. We swear that's where Nike got their logo from. But then that's what he would say if he was discussing something or another. He'd say, well, let's do it. And the word is action. Hill tells us, and it's over and over, and I think I've listened to and read, he said, when you have an idea, you make plans and you start. Plans may not be good. They may be weak or what have you. But you're never going to get nowhere unless you start. You can always change a plan, but the main thing, and that's what's lacking in most people's life. They go on and on. They attend these seminars. They got to pick out something or other that they get excited about, have a passion for, an objective, and then go from there. And the reason you select people that you can use their strength of experience and their training and their knowledge that you may lack. And so they all come together in a harmonious relationship with a common objective. It only makes sense that they'll accomplish a lot more than if they're trying to go it alone.
Don, thank you so much for your time on this principle of the Mastermind Alliance and how just really is clarified in our minds. So thank you very much, and we appreciate your time.
Okay, you're very welcome.
You've been listening to the It's Your Fate podcast. To connect with me and pick up a copy of one of my books, please visit www.leffordfate.com. That's leffordfate.com. You've met your fate. Now let's walk into your destiny.